Okay, so we talked a little bit about deferment and when that may be a good idea. You may need to do it, how to do it. That's really important stuff. What about this? Something goes wrong, and I'm a young dentist and I die. What happens with my student debt? Is somebody responsible for that?
So this is a tough question again. A lot of these things when we involve the government there's a lot of different situations with the government versus the private sector. Typically with the government loans, if someone were to die, assuming the debt is in their name alone, not a parent's loan or something like that, the debt would be forgiven. Now, not necessarily the case with a private loan. Now, a lot of the private loans do have the same type of aspects to where they will maybe forgive. But it depends upon the private sector and which carrier you're with, so double check with that. Now also, if your parents take out a loan for you in their name and their name alone, and this has happened on multiple occasions to where that parent may have died, then that loan would likely forgive as well, as long as it's a federal loan.
Okay, got it. So I guess let's maybe talk about a more common scenario where as a young dentist I get hurt, I'm disabled. What happens with my student loans at that point?
If you were to become sick or injured and couldn't work as a dentist and you're not working at any capacity, typically the federal government will waive your loans after 5 years. They'll just take them off the plane. Now, where it gets tricky is if you are working at another capacity, you're still earning income. So therefore, the government still sees you earning income, and therefore they will still want their payments back. So we would recommend adding student loan disability insurance in force. That way, if something happens and you did become disabled, the student loan disability product would pay up to your loan amount, up to, depending upon your benefit amount, for those loans to protect you in that scenario, just in case if you were not to be able to work as a dentist but can work in another scenario.
Got it. So same rule apply during that 5-year window if you just can't work at all?
So if you can't work at all, what would happen is they would still, the benefits on the student loan would still pay the loan, and then if the federal loan would still be there in 5 years, that would still waive, and then you could cancel your disability insurance policy, or the student loan piece.
Got it. It's good to know because 5 years is a long time. If you can't work, to have to still be responsible for that debt load, because that number is what on average for most students today?
To go
a couple $1,000 a month to repay a student?
Oh yeah, depending on the student loan amount, it's usually $2,000 plus, and it can be less if the loan's less, or if they extend their loan period out a little bit. But yeah, it's not uncommon to see $1,500, $2,000 plus per month.
Yeah, it's a lot of money when you're not working at all.
Now, one thing that I would like to point out is if these dentists were to be going on a claim, and let's say the claim would be for 2 or 3 years, and the federal government is deferring those loans, which they would. Like, you don't have to be on a claim 5 years for them to defer, just for them to waive them. But you could go on a claim for 2 to 3 years and not be able to work at any capacity, and they would defer those. The interest continues to accrue the entire time. If you come back to work, you owe all the money you originally owed plus the new accrual. So that's accrual. That's the new, that's an important factor to put in there as well.
Okay, so it's important for me to understand as a young dentist if I have a shot at coming back to work versus this is a career-ending injury for me.
Yeah, and sadly, for most sickness, illnesses, and disabilities, we never know. It could be a 3-month thing, it could be a 30-year thing, and that's the scary part about that piece of what I do.
Yeah, that's a good point, because when you and I are signing up for that policy, we can't predict if it's going to be us, if it is us, what's going to happen. It's just by that time it's too late, and it is. Right. Okay, so one more question for you about student debt. If we had a room full of students and young dentists here, and you had just one more shot at giving them your one great piece of advice, what do we tell them?
I would say, first and foremost, again, philosophically speaking, protect yourself, save money for yourself, and then focus on the student loans, investments, and all that other stuff with proper financial balance. It's important that you focus on what's critically important, and it's not paying back your debt first and foremost. What's most critical is protecting yourself, building your practice, building your family, getting the houses, getting the cars, getting the proper priorities in order, and then and only then work on knocking out student loan debt, investments, and retirements. Keep in mind that if you do something productive with the money, student loans are an emotional decision, not a financial decision, as long as you do something productive with the money.
I love that. So Brandon, hey, thanks for your time today.
Thank you.
Igniters, take those lessons to heed. It's don't get doctoritis. You don't need a Ferrari and a boat in the mansion when you first roll out of school. Get your priorities straight. You're used to living lean now. If you act smart your first 3 to 5 years out of school, would you say, you're probably going to set yourself up for the rest of your life. So till next time, thanks for joining us. Together we rise.